And sometimes it's about self-regulation. On the days where you might be trying some active recovery and your body just says no. And then you can, in that case, take it down a couple notches and do some more passive recovery instead. Or vice versa. If a passive day feels like not the right thing for your body, you can take it up a couple notches and do just a light walk for some active recovery.
How's it going, guys? It's Dylan from Mesa Fitness, and we're back for Seminar 2. Today we're talking about recovery and how sleep and recovery will aid in your success during the 12-week challenge and during your fitness journey as a whole. Okay, so I've got a couple of people from Mesa Fitness Clifton here with me. I've got Parker, he's one of our personal trainers here. He's been here for 3 years now. Yes, sir. I've got Mike. He's been here for just about a year almost.
About 7 to 6 months.
Perfect. He's also a trainer here at the gym. And then I got Michaela. She's our fitness director here at Mesa Fitness Clifton. And she's been here a lot longer than me. So she crushes it. She does a lot for us. So I've got the three of them here with me. We're going to talk about how recovery really plays into your training, into your success, and into your fitness journey as a whole. And I've got Michaela here today to kind of tie that into group fitness a little bit too. I know there's a lot of people that participate in group fitness and are taking part in the group fitness portion of this year's challenge. So I'm going to bring her in and kind of tie that in as well. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a couple of questions like we did with the last seminar. If you watched that, thank you. If you haven't, it's on our YouTube channel, so you can check that out. But let's start with the basics. What is recovery?
So recovery is basically anything you're doing while you're not training. So that could be, for examples like active recovery, when you're going for a walk, just something light, like could even be a light bike ride, anything where you're still kind of moving, getting your heart rate up a little bit, but not in the gym intensely training. And then, examples of non-active recovery is just lazy day, you're sitting on the couch watching TV, not doing much to get the heart rate up and just letting the body recover.
How do you know when to balance the two? How much of each should you be doing, depending on what kind of training you're doing?
Yeah, and that kind of goes into personally what you feel like. But if you're training for something more active and like cardio specific, you probably want to have a little more active recovery, keeping the body moving, and that ties into just like any kind of training. You want to be having a good amount of active recovery too, get the blood flow, keep circulation going through the body. The more active recovery you have there, and getting circulation to the body, the more that'll aid in recovery, getting nutrients, oxygen to those muscles, helping them recover quicker than if you are just laying on the couch. But that being said, there's also an important part for that. Sometimes your body does just need to hang out, do nothing, and fully recover in that way as well.
I like that. I obviously need to add more active recovery and not just watch Disney stuff.
And sometimes it's about self-regulation. On the days where you might be trying some active recovery and your body just says no. And then you can, in that case, take it down a couple notches and do some more passive recovery instead. Or vice versa. If a passive day feels like not the right thing for your body, you can take it up a couple notches and do just a light walk for some active recovery.
Yeah, I've always found that walks are really good. If you've got kids at home, taking a walk with kids is always great.
Yeah.
Just gets the body moving a little bit, gets you guys off the couch, out in front of the TV. So that's always a good one. That's one that we like in the summertime. Right now it's a little tough because it's freezing, but
Yeah.
you can always find one.
Or if you have an Aussie lab puppy like me, if it has endless energy, walks are always good for that too.
What kind of things can we do to set up for better recovery before our workout?
So before a workout, for better recovery, what you should do is you should focus more on mobility. So that's the muscle that's moving a muscle through full range of motion. Now the muscle moves around the joint. So that's like doing, because there's two things, there's static stretching and there's also mobility. So mobility, like doing some hip 90s or doing some hamstring sweeps, doing world's greatest stretch. That's going to help get that muscle through full range of motion so you can have optimal performance for whatever activity you're doing. And then what we recommend is like the static stretching, doing that after your workout. So you want that to basically letting that muscle go through, stretching that muscle through full elasticity. And we don't want you to do that. We don't recommend doing that through or before a workout because that actually can inhibit your performance. So I would really recommend, getting the heart rate up a little bit, raising that up, getting like 5-10 minutes on the treadmill, and then doing about 5 to 10 minutes of mobility. And everyone's different depending on what your body needs, because some people might be tying their hips, some might be tying the shoulders. So you might want to spend a little bit more time on those specific areas so you can have better performance for whatever activity you're doing.
And why exactly do you recommend static stretching right after it's dynamic? Why would you not want to do dynamic after?
Static stretching, that's like just going to help relax the body with the recovery, and that's going to let, like, let's say you really destroyed your hamstrings, you're going to let it kind of stretch those hamstrings out. Now, like if you did it before workout, you're kind of relaxing that muscle. You don't want to be relaxed, you want to be warmed up and do that full range of motion before you go through any activity to increase your performance.
What about group exercise? How does stretching and kind of a warm up play into that? I know you kind of incorporate a warm up into the class itself, but is there more than that they can do to really ensure they're not going to get hurt?
There is. In fact, every class that we have in group fitness, we do have a set warm up and we also have a set cool down that has stretching. But in addition to that, we recommend classes like our yin yoga classes, restorative yoga, mobility and flexibility yoga, things like that are going to be kind of a combination of actually what Parker's talking about. In the beginning of those classes, there's typically more of a dynamic, you're moving through poses a little bit more, and then towards the end, it's more of a static stretch. And especially with yin yoga and restorative yoga, it's assisted stretching, which also for people who might have tight hips or tight shoulders, to use a block under that to open up that area where you're not forcing the body to work as hard can be really beneficial and allow you to get a deeper stretch without injury.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's great that you guys not only incorporate the warm up and cool down, because not only is that helping to begin with, but having that extra information to really set up for success in the classes is important too. It's the same thing for team training. You guys incorporate warm up into your classes as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's stuff that, like, for example, like self-myofascial release, which is like trigger release. So, like, we'll have some of my athletes or people in my class do is that, let's say they have, especially if they have lower back issues, because it's never really the lower back that's the main issue when it comes to that. I have them target, like, they have tight hips, or I'll have them like sit on a ball or a foam roller, release that piriformis so they can get that adhesion, kind of try and release it. So I recommend that before and after as well. And sometimes for myself, like if I'm doing my big lifts on like my squat bench up and I feel a knot, I'll take time to do that trigger release. So you can even do some mobility like during your workout as well if you absolutely need it.
That's great. Let's move into nutrition and how that helps with your recovery. What kind of effects does when you eat, how much you're eating, what you're eating, and how much does your nutrition play into your recovery?
Yes, so you definitely deplete your carbohydrate source or carbohydrates instead of 90-minute of activity. So you definitely want to replenish that after you work out. And before you work out, it all depends on how you train. I know a few people, let's say you're a 5 a.m.er, sometimes you might not want to get food in right before you work out. Some people might not feel well. I know a lot of my clients, they come and eat right before they work out. They get like nauseous and stuff like that. But I recommend like eating something small in, whether that's like oatmeal, something that's going to be dense, it's going to sit well on your stomach, so your body can absorb those carbohydrates and use it for energy during your workout. And like Mike said, knowing how much calories you should be intaking is crucial. So like he said, if you're trying to do weight loss, you need to know what you need to be at with a deficit, or if you're just maintaining and just want overall fitness, know how many calories you need to eat, because calories is a single unit of energy, and that's just basically energy for the body. So if you're actually eating way lower, that can actually increase risk of injury as well. So making sure that you're eating the correct amount of calories in, and not just calories, because like we eat a donut, you can get up to 400, 500 calories right there. It's having nutritional dense food choices. So nutritional dense food is basically food that has higher nutrient content than it does energy, aka calories. So getting those nutrients, whether it's like whole grains, whole wheats, vegetables, and lean meats to get your protein in, that's going to give you a lot of those nutrients that's going to help with bodily functions. It's like, I like to say, your body's like a car. Obviously, the better gas you put into it, the more, when you frequently change the oil, you take better care of it, cars will run more efficiently. So it's just like your body, you need to fuel it, and use food as fuel, so fuel will do direct nutrients, so you have optimal performance. And our body's like a car, but in a sense it's not, because you can replace your car anytime, but your body, you only get one of them, so you better treat it right so you can have a longevity of life with your workouts as well.
I like that. And when he talks about performance, it's not just like athletic performance, right? It's everyday performance. It's getting out of bed. It's walking up and down the stairs. It's walking to and from your car at work. It's regular movement and how your body performs during the day, how it feels during the day. So if you're eating, really dense stuff that isn't great for you, your performance during the day, you're not going to feel great. If you're slamming a hamburger at lunch and then half a pizza at dinner, you're not going to feel good the next day. I promise I did that in college. Not a good idea. But if you're eating really nutritious stuff like Parker and Mike are talking about, your body functions better and it feels better. Even if you have a sedentary job, you sit at a desk, your body's going to feel better throughout the day because you're eating better things, you're fueling it better. Okay. So there's some literature out there around taking in extra protein or trying to eat the last little bit right before bed, to try and really boost the recovery, because obviously your body needs protein. But taking in that extra protein, what are your guys' thoughts around that?
So with that, there's what the intermittent fasting people say, they have this window that helps them with weight loss, if that is your goal, but it doesn't matter when you get your calories in, you have to just get them out throughout the day and have adequate protein intake. It doesn't matter if you drink protein shake right from bed, doesn't mean your bench press is going to go 5 pounds, guaranteed. It's just getting adequate protein, however, with your schedule, with your work schedule, workout schedule, getting that number in throughout the day. Doesn't matter when you get it in. And when it comes to like weight loss, some people say, oh, you shouldn't eat after 8 because you'll gain weight. Some people have that fear. It's probably just because your body hasn't digested that food. So there's no specific time when you should be taking calories, where it's better at night or in the morning. Say protein is just hitting that number throughout the whole day, because you might need to space it out. You might eat more in the morning and then you're starving at lunch. It's like maybe you should space it out more so you don't have that starving effect on your body.
What about for group exercise? What do you typically recommend for people who are asking about when they should eat before class, when they should eat after class? Does it kind of follow along the same lines as coming into the gym and hitting weights?
It does. It's kind of like what Parker said. Some of his clients, might need to eat something ahead of time. We have participants, because we do have a lot of 5 a.m. classes as well. We have some participants who say, "Oh, I can't eat a thing. I get sick." Some participants, some oatmeal or banana helps them make it through their workout. So again, I typically tell people that's an individual situation and something they kind of need to evaluate. And like we talked about with the self-regulation on exercise recovery, it's that same sort of thing with fueling your body before and or after that workout. Everybody performs a little bit differently, and every class is different. We have body pump class where you might be able to eat something ahead of time. Combat, maybe not so much. Hit those burpees and it's not going to feel awesome. So it kind of depends on the workout you're doing as well.
Let's jump into sleep and how that affects recovery. Obviously, the recommendation is 7 or 8 hours is pretty typical for the recommendation on how much you should be sleeping. Talk about how sleep really helps the recovery process.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So I actually I have to pull my phone for this, but so there's been 30 years of test research. It's off of Why We Sleep: Unlocking the Power of Sleep and Dreams by Matthew Walker, his PhD. And then he says that he says the cycle rate of the human being is around 16 hours. So after 16 hours of being awake, the brain begins to fail. Humans need more than 7 hours of sleep each night to maintain cognitive performance. And after 10 days of just 7 hours of sleep, the brain is as dysfunctional as it would be after going without sleep for 24 hours. And he also says that 3 full nights of recovery is insufficient to restore performance. So you need more than just a week. So say like if you had a bad night's sleep all Monday through Friday, you're going to need more than just Saturday, Sunday to catch up on that sleep. And your brain actually can't tell you how sleep deprived it is when it is sleep deprived. And I can tell you as personal experience as well for myself, like when you work from 7 p.m. then I have to be up at 4 a.m. Sometimes it's hard to go to bed at the correct time. I was doing that continuously. My nutrition was good, but I was overloading my body continuously, and I actually ended up sustaining an injury, and I've been battling. It just keeps happening, shoulder injury after shoulder injury for the past year and a half. And I know for a fact it's because of my sleep. So sleep will just help with your performance a lot. Will help with your performance because you've probably done, like, say, a class or you've done a workout. You've probably done that workout on a full 8 hours of sleep. You've probably done it on like 6 hours of sleep. You can tell that your strength levels are not the same because you're fatigued and your body's not at full recovery with that.
And there's actually a correlation between sleep deprivation and the rate of injuries. Normal people have about 2 to 3 injuries per 2 to 3,000 hours of training, classes, whatever it is. When you have sleep deprivation, that number goes up by about 4 to 5 times. So your rate of injury increases hugely. So it's like Parker's saying, your cognitive recognition of where your body's at has been affected, and your body doesn't realize how sleep deprived it is, and you continue to push and then end up injured. So sleep, as far as injury prevention, is huge as well.
Just out of curiosity, is that sleep count? Is that consecutive hours? Is that kind of like eating, where you can get it in throughout the day? Like if you get, let's say, 6 hours overnight, and you take a 2-hour nap at some point during the day, does that function the same, or should it be more continuous based on your sleep cycles?
I recommend just getting that full stretch. I mean, for me, I take naps as well because it's, sometimes like everyone's schedule is different. I've been told by clients, if you have kids, you don't sleep. So, I mean, if you can squeeze in, you're letting your body full recover. Because when you're sleeping, you're at full rest. So you're letting your body repair itself when it needs to. So I recommend giving that whole 70-hour stretch if you can. But if you need to, definitely getting that nap is going to help you out a lot. You just have to deal with like that risk of taking a nap and feeling super groggy and waking up feeling like it's the next day kind of thing. But that's a risk you have to be willing to take with that.
Try sometimes.
That's right. It's a risk.
I'll crush a nap with my 2-year-old.
I will.
I will not complain about that whatsoever. Now you kind of talked about how it leads into the performance. What kind of things? Obviously, Parker, you've kind of dealt with some injuries over that. What kind of things do you see outside of the gym with your performance? Do you actually see that it's hindering you at work? What kind of stuff do you guys feel?
Well, like with work here, like if I'm definitely sleep deprived, even just like performing the exercise for a client, I can feel like sometimes my back will flare up, but I don't feel like I have that knot. I know it's because I'm not sleeping that well. And then it's cueing and everything too. I feel like my brain's not all the way there. So like I'll mix up my words. So say, yeah, grip the bar with your feet kind of thing, but actually with your hands, but and stuff like that. But I mostly just hinders my performance on my lifts, but I can also see how it affects me during my work with like training with clients as well.
Yeah, that's totally true. And like cognitively as well, like anything outside of it, like if I can tell if I have a good night of sleep and then I get done with work, like I still have energy, I still can go, and I play in the day locally, so I still have time and like feel good, can go to band practice, feel good energy-wise, and cognitively there. But if I've had, bad night of sleep or consecutive bad nights of sleep, it is a struggle, like motivation-wise, first of all, and just energy-wise, to be able to, once you just get through your day of work, which is like Parker was saying, going to be harder than when you have good rest. Then just continuing on with, what you're doing outside of work after that. It all kind of compounds and gets harder throughout the day when you're not getting enough sleep and that adequate rest.
Agreed. I definitely feel that, with a 2-year-old, it's tough to get all the sleep you need sometimes, but, weekends are nice because he does actually like to sleep in, so I got really lucky there.
Nice.
Let's move into some common mistakes. What kind of stuff do you guys normally see? What, if it's somebody you just see on the floor or something you overhear in a conversation while you're in the gym, what kind of things are you commonly seeing that might be a mistake and might lead to something like an injury?
Overlooking stretching. And back to personal experience, I neglected mobility. I do mobility for workout, but the stack stretching kind of neglected that for 2 years. For power lifter, if you're putting your body through strenuous activity, lots of weight over time, I feel like a tight potato every single day of my life. And let's avoid that. So one thing I say is people hit their last set, all right, out, I'm later, leaving. It's spend the extra 5 to 10 minutes stretching, and don't tell yourself you're gonna do it at home, because I know dang well there's 90% chance you're not gonna do it at home. So I would say stretching, and mobility, and then also, especially the new year, people coming in, which I love the motivation and that fire they have inside them, I want to go 7 days a week. They don't really know about that passive and active recovery. Yes, you can be active all 7 days a week, but let's say you do resistance training 4 days out of that week, but they just keep going and going, no rest days whatsoever, and they don't listen to the body. There's a difference between sore and there's a difference between being fatigued. So fatigue, that's going to hit performance a lot. Sore is just that muscle going through trauma, So being able to listen to your body, knowing when you need that rest day. Maybe you have a schedule Monday through Friday where you go and you lift weights, and then Saturday, Sunday's your active / passive recovery days. That Wednesday you wake up and you're like, man, I feel fatigued. Listen to your body, take that rest day, make up on Saturday, or just take an extra rest day during your training cycle, because it's not going to hinder your progress by taking an extra rest day. So I would just say listening to your body, taking those active and passive recovery days, and then also focusing a lot on mobility and stretching before and after your workouts.
Anything you guys want to add to that?
I would agree. I think, like you said, it's that overtraining component where people come in and they're so excited and so motivated to change their lives or change their fitness that they tip the scales too far, and they're overtraining. Their body becomes fatigued, and then that is when you're going to have some injuries, which is going to set you back, and you're going to start that same cycle over and over. So just listening to your body, like Parker was saying, if you wake up and you feel, today's not the day, respect that, and let your body rest, let it have, and instead of resistance training or a class, do a yoga class, do some mobility work, do something that's going to benefit the body rather than stress the body.
And a lot of times too, with that, you go 7 days a week, and what happens is they're so sore, their body's so broken down that they lose that motivation very quickly, and they don't make it back to the gym. So you can get away with just 3 days a week being active, with resistance training or taking classes, and spend the other days being active, going on a walk with the kids, the dogs, going on a hike as well, just being active every single day, because when you do that passive recovery day and you just do nothing at all, your body slows down because it thinks it's slowing down every bodily process. So just getting moving is going to keep that metabolism going as well. So you just want to always keep moving. Let's say your goal is weight loss, moving is the key. So increasing that total daily energy expenditure to help make sure you burn more than what you intake. So I recommend being active every day, just whether that's moving, just mobility, stretching, going on a walk, etc.
I think injuries can be the probably biggest derailer of your progress. Whether it's a shoulder injury or a knee injury, or your back just hurts, and you threw your back out doing squats or something like like that, an injury can really set you back in terms of your motivation. If it hurts, you don't want to do it. That was a big reason why in high school and college I stayed away from squats. I got hurt and I completely abandoned them for years. I didn't start until about 2 years ago again doing squats, and that can really derail you from the gym as a whole. So if you start slow, to their point of going 7 days a week, it's not sustainable even for somebody who does this all the time. If you can start slow, do 2 or 3 days a week the first month that you're coming in, and then add an extra day, or just continuously move, to Parker's point, then your body gets more acclimated to the movement. It gets more acclimated to the stress, and then you get more acclimated to coming into the gym every day. Whether it's coming into Michaela's point, taking a yoga class instead of hitting deadlifts, or if you're just hitting some mobility work. Those kind of things can really set you up for long-term success. Because even though we're talking about this for the 12-week challenge, we really want you to do this for life. This is, like Mark said, you got one body to take care of, and you're going to have to live with it forever. So if it's hurt, it's going to be hard to live with it in the gym. So if you can maintain healthy habits, positive habits, active habits throughout the course of your life, then it sets you up for long-term success.
And there's one thing too, is like you can take the recovery in your training itself. So we call it deload week. So like I usually recommend all my clients and athletes about every 4th to 6th week, every athlete's different based on what they need. Is you can take this thing called deload week. It's just what deload week is, the non-wasted training week. So let's say on Monday you hit 4 sets of 8 squats, at like 65, 70% of your one rep, or let's say 75% of your 1 rep max. But what you can do is during that deload week, you can lower that intensity. So lower the load, and then on your accessories, whether that's like leg press, reverse lunges, you decrease the volume of it as well. So you're basically still moving, you still putting yourself through that stimulus, but you take away, you decrease intensity and volume, so your body can have that little bit of break. It's going to thank you because you can base that off training fatigue, injuries, and performance. So doing that deload week, I really recommend. If you're doing if you have a program, every 4 to 6 weeks, taking that little bit of deload and just kind of decreasing the intensity, decreasing the volume to help better your performance.
Yeah, and a lot of times, what I've noticed with that too is you'll come back feeling more refreshed and a lot of times feeling stronger that next week than if you were just pushing it. And it can help too, like if you're going to a plateau with a lift that you're really working on hard and you're just pushing it and pushing it. Sometimes just taking a step back, still practicing that movement, but at a lighter intensity, letting your body reset, and then going that next week will help you get through that plateau and just keep progress coming along while reducing the risk of injury with it.
I like that. How can somebody kind of go through a deload week almost with exercise?
So similarly, with body pump, you can decrease your weights. Cardio sculpt, you can just decrease weight. So any weight-based class or group classes, you can actually do that and still do the same movements. With the other classes, you can decrease your intensity, or you can decrease the amount of impact in certain classes, like body attack, body combat, have the capability of being very high impact, or you can take options to lower the intensity and lower the impact. And so I would just suggest to people, rather than doing a modified sprawl, you do a squat. Rather than doing a tuck jump, again, maybe a jack instead. There's different ways to deload intensity and deload that weight-bearing exercise as well.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all we have today. I'm gonna leave the floor open to see if these guys have anything today, any last parting thoughts. Thank you guys for watching today. If you haven't, check out Seminar 1 as well. It's available on our YouTube channel and on the challenge website, challenge page on our website. This one will also be available on our website. You might actually be watching it there now. And we'll have a couple more of these. You'll be able to find the entire calendar on the challenge website. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the floor open. Do you guys have any last parting thoughts on recovery or safety out there?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is just don't overthink it, but have your plan for training, have your plan for rest and recovery, have your plan for calories, protein intake there, and there's no set way to do any of it. One of the biggest things is just listening to your body, knowing when you need that rest, knowing when you need a little more calories on a certain day, a little less calories, when you like to eat. If it's easier for you to have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, do that. If it's easier for you to not eat in the mornings, have a bigger lunch and dinner, do that. If you like to snack late and that doesn't upset your stomach for sleeping, go ahead and do that. But there's no set way here. These are all just kind of examples, and the best way to get through that is getting your rest in, finding what works best for you and what's most sustainable for you. It's like Dylan was saying, we want to make this as easy as it can be for you, for not just the 12-week challenge, but for life. So if it's easier for you and sustainable, that's what you're going to stick with for it.
And like Mike's saying, program, really recommend like getting on structured program, just because that's going to help you progress correctly, give you the proper load and intensity, or load and also volume sustainable for you. Because obviously, like my senior client's going to go through a different volume and intensity than one of my 20 or my 15-year-old powerlifter who can take a lot more. So getting on that proper program that's suitable for you, and then also calories, getting on a BMR calculator, calculating what your body burns at rest, like an average what your body burns at rest, and how much your calories are, how many calories your body needs based off how active you are. If you have a really high demand job, you obviously need more calories to sustain high performance, and just being able to hit that, tracking your calories. I know it sucks, but it's not that bad. Like once you get in a routine, it's not that bad. Get on the phone, boom, 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 knowing how much protein, how much carbohydrates, fats, and calories you're getting in, so you can be able to function better throughout the day. And if you are more recovered, you're actually going to be more productive as well, not just in the gym, but also other things outside of the gym. So yeah, just make sure you hit your calories, nutritional dense foods. You have a structured program. Mobility, you don't want to be type potato. I do not recommend. 100% do not recommend. Literally, I see a massage therapist and a chiropractor almost every week because I'm making up for the 2 years that I slacked off on stretching. So
I would just say, if this all crosses your eyes and confuses you, please just come and ask one of us. Any one of the trainers, any one of the instructors are available at any time and welcome your questions. Welcome you coming to us with anything. So please, if you have questions, just come grab somebody at the gym. We are welcome to help you. We're here to help you. We want to help you. So just come ask.
Even if we're looking like a type potato.
Yeah. Even the type potato ones.
that's right.
That's the great thing about the staffers. This group of people is incredible. They're here because they want to help other people. Maybe they've gone through a big fitness journey on their own. They've lost 40, 50, 60 pounds even. They turn themselves into a bodybuilder, whatever the case is. These folks have gone through this journey and they understand what kind of effort it takes, and that you can almost not do it on your own. So they're here to help, and that's what they want to do. I mean, these are some of the nicest people that I've ever met. I've had the privilege of being here for a few years, and there are some incredible people that walk through the doors as staff and as members too. So don't be intimidated. I mean, we've got type potatoes at both gyms, so don't be intimidated to just ask a question. You don't have to feel obligated to sit down with them for an hour or anything like that. Just ask a question. They're more than happy to help. Okay. Thank you guys for watching again. Check out the challenge page for any updates on what's going on. And you can actually meet both of these trainers and Michaela on our website and on our mobile app. Get to know them a little bit better. Say hi to the type potato when you come into the gym. And thanks again.
And one more thing, consistency over perfection during the challenge. Remember, not every day is going to be perfect, but if you're consistent with it, that's where the progress is going to happen. Stay groovy.